At the APEC Media Center in San Francisco, I met a U.S. podcaster, Herlihy. He's the founder and producer of the San Francisco Experience. We had an interesting exchange of ideas over the meetings of APEC, as well as China-U.S. relations. So what's your take on the current China-U.S. ties, and is decoupling or de-risking a choice?
To me, no. To me, no. Absolutely not. I think decoupling from China would be a disaster. Anyone who talks about decoupling, I don't think is remembering their history. As the leader said, in the last 50 years, our relationship hasn't been smooth sailing all the time. Often our interests are the same. Sometimes they diverge. But most importantly, it moves forward. And that's what we want to see. We want to see it moving forward. And the best way that you move forward is to talk, to trade, to visit, to share technology.
We should not hide from each other our treasures.
Yeah, absolutely. We shouldn't hide our treasures. Technology today is not something that we can hide. It would be foolish to think that we could put a ring fence around that technology and say, we're going to keep this only to ourselves. We're not going to share that with anyone. One message that I really emphasize to the public is that technology knows no borders. I have a podcast, you're a journalist. We have to get the word out. We have to share our stories with the public. Very open.
Zheng is one of the sensible people I've met in San Francisco who really knew about China and also seriously read into what the Chinese leader said in the U.S. to the American people.
His speech was a very important speech. He had a very compelling message to say to the American people. He talked about the 5 pillars of his policy. He talked about respect. He talked about building bridges. He talked about the importance of a win-win situation. The world is big enough for China and the United States, which are the 2 largest global economies, to exist, to thrive, to grow, to lead. I thought they were very important messages that the American people needs to hear. Unfortunately, the American press didn't pick up as much as they should have done. It's important for the American press to go back and take another look at that speech. Take another look at what he said.
I also asked Zheng how important is it to build bridges between China and the United States.
It's critically important. We have been building bridges between China and the United States since 1972. And we've built bridges for trade. We've built bridges for education. We've built bridges for health, for technology, for culture, for everything. And we need to take a look at the bridges that we have so far. Do they still serve our purposes, or do we need to renew those bridges and make them more modern, wider, bigger, to accommodate more traffic that I want to see between China and the United States? I've always found the Chinese people to be very hospitable, very open, curious about us, and we're curious about them. I hope that more fellow Americans have the opportunity to visit China, approach it with an open mind, be like that dry sponge, and make it your goal when you visit China that when you leave, that sponge is full and wet and full of all of your experience of your trip to China and the people of China. We're journalists like you and me. We tell the story. We tell the story as truthfully as we can. Make sure that the word gets out there.
Well, interestingly, the first person we talked to after landing in San Francisco was also a veteran journalist.
I was the camera guy, so I had to go backwards and film everybody and stuff. What are you guys doing here?
We're reporters from China.
Oh, I worked for a newspaper. I did it 47 years.
So we're here for the APAC.
That's very good.
We also hope for some good things happen here.
Yeah. Good luck in journalism. That's a big deal. We got to get the truth out there.
Let's continue the dialogue.
When we were in the U.S., we were also like a sponge. We were learning more, seeing more, meeting more people, and hearing more stories every single day. We were absorbing and were curious about everything around us. We've definitely got something here, and I hope we've also left something here.